Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the next instalment in the Sydney Project Railroad build. If you're watching last week, you will have seen me install the first of the two long grades down to the lower staging yard. This week I'm going to build the benchwork around the last corner and close the gap, get everything squared up, and then work on the second of those grades down to the other end of the lower staging yard. It's a lot to cover in one video. So without further ado, let's just head out to the workshop and get to work. Well, there is the next 7 feet of sub-road bed installed. I've also got some dimensions for the next frame that goes in here and turns the corner. It's a little bit shorter than 7 feet. If I've calculated it correctly, it's 82 3/4. And the width is not critical, it's going to be about 40. And it's an L-shaped piece. Well, I have now turned the corner with this next frame. It is properly leveled, and I've got the temporary legs on the back and the permanent ones in the front. I haven't yet bolted the two sections together, but I'm going to leave that. It's time to go in, and Zeus is pestering me for dinner. So I'm going to leave it till tomorrow, and I'll be right back. Don't go away. Well, yesterday I mentioned that I had reached the corner. This morning I've been working on closing the gap. I have the next frame in, so I just have about a foot wide space that I can walk through. I've got to make an adjustment here. I was thinking that one leg would be enough there, but obviously it isn't, because if we look at this, it lines up with the lower level grade. So what I've got to do is move it off to the side and put another temporary one in beside it. And then once that is done, I can make sure that the benchwork is the right size and square. I did notice yesterday that I'd allowed this run to creep inward by about 1/4 of an inch. But once I've got bracing at both ends, I can get it squared up once and for all, and I won't have to worry about it moving again. So let me get back to work quickly, and I will be right back. Well, having gone all the way around the room and leveled this last frame, the moment of truth is putting a straight edge and a level across the two ends of the benchwork and seeing how far out I am. And I am within 1/8 of an inch, and that's not too bad. I half expected it to be more than that. So this end has to go up almost 1/8 of an inch, and then I will gradually take it up throughout the whole of the lap. I think I will keep the staging yard as it is, because that's a lot of legs to adjust. In fact, I think I'm going to keep it as it is all the way to the rolling section, because the casters don't have any adjustment. And then I'm going to gradually adjust that 1/8 of an inch over the last 60 feet, sorry. And then I will call it good. Well, that 1/8 inch step I had at this point is no more. Well, it was a small 1/8 to start with. So I started by raising these legs very slightly, got this corner perfectly level, and then I gradually reduced the gain on each pair of legs by about 1/4 of a turn on the adjustable feet. And I had it back to 0 by the time I got halfway along where the Mountain Dew box is. And if I put the level on each frame, I cannot tell that it's out. The bubble still looks dead center. So I'm going to call the level good. I also took the precaution of remeasuring both sides. And this side is about 1/16 of an inch shorter than the other side. So I'm calling that good. And I put a block of wood at this point that is 12 feet from the corner. I measured 16 feet down that side. The hypotenuse is exactly 20 feet. So using the 3, 4, 5 right angle triangle, it proves that that corner is also perfectly square. So with all the essential numbers now working out properly, I can see about closing that gap. So I'm going to do that after lunch, and I will check in with you again later. So don't go away. Well, with the next piece of benchwork installed, that 7 foot long 4-inch square tube, I have now officially closed the gap. So I've gone all the way around. I think I'm going to continue with this lower grade, get the corner in, and just see how far along there I can get it this afternoon. I think that will be a good use of the time remaining today. Well, I've now completed the grade around the corner. I've got the 3-inch wide curve and then another straight piece bridging to the first of the fully framed areas. I'm not going to put the fences on until after I've laid the track because it does hamper getting the alignment perfect. Tomorrow I'm going to continue with the lower grade, rising up and crossing over this one. But I don't feel like starting it now. It's almost time to go in anyway. So I'm going to call that a day and I'll see you tomorrow. Well, this morning I have continued the grade where I left off and I've installed 3 more pieces. I think I'm getting a little bit higher than I wanted to. So I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to wait until I am able to start at the top and work my way down. I need to put plywood in this corner still, and the turnout for the grade is about here. So I can get the vertical curve on this board, and then I will start maybe 1/8 of an inch low here and continue my way down and see how far I get. The top part of the grade needs to be the ruling grade because I want to get as much clearance as I can under the track in this corner. And then I think I can ease off a little bit because I have slightly longer on this grade than I had on the other one. Well, the top of this grade is going quite quickly. I put in the 2 straight pieces with risers, and then the curve I had to build up from 4 pieces, and I've had to notch the joists because it now drops below the frame. That was probably the longest part of the job so far. I put a new blade in again because I've now gone through the other one. At the moment, I think I've got the notches a little deeper than I need them, so I have some tolerance. And now I've just got to jack them up, put the blocks in, using the level between each one. So let me continue with that, and I'll be right back. Well, this corner is now permanently installed. I'm going to go in now, feed Zeus, and I'm going to come back out tomorrow. Well, so far this morning, I have put the grade in over these last 2 sections to connect the corner up to where I left off yesterday. And as we can see, I've gained almost 1 inch too much. I thought I was rising too high, which if you recall was why I stopped and worked from the top. And I'm so glad that I do have that extra inch because this hidden track is a little bit too high to pass under the river. So I'm going to go back to the bottom and I'm going to start adjusting from there. I don't want to take out that full inch at this point because that cuts into the structure of the benchwork. But I do want to reduce the grade on this bit, which is a little steeper than it needs to be. Well, this second grade is now done and connected up all the way along. I notched it exactly 1/2 inch at this point. And the grade is now 1.8% all the way. That's 1.8% eastbound and 2.1% westbound, which is the ruling grade for the whole railroad. Anyway, the next thing I need to do is mark where the track goes. I've already done this corner. I've got to do the one at the other end, and then I'll get some foam road bed stuck down. So let me do that, and I will be right back. My goal for this morning is to get the track laid on the second grade. I started in this corner right at the first turnout for the staging yard, and I have so far got around the end and about halfway up the back straight. That is all the weights I have out here. So I'm going to have to start recycling them from the beginning. Anyway, I've still got plenty of time this morning. It's only about 10:15. I should be able to get to the top of the grade before lunch. So let me continue, and I will be right back. Before I go any further, I wanted to make another clip and show my method of getting reliable rail joints in the middle of a curve. From this frame end here, around the corner to this one right here, is almost 9 feet. And that is too far to go without an expansion joint in the middle. Now, the only brand of flex track which holds its shape reliably on curves is Microengineering. All the others have the rails sliding a lot looser in the ties, which actually makes them easier to bend into perfect easements. So for a situation like this, I started by bending a single piece of Microengineering flex track to the right radius, getting it perfect, and then I cut it in half and dressed the ends. Here's the rail joint there. At the moment there's a gap just to show you what I'm doing. And then after that I solder a yard of Pico flex track to each half, soldering it on the straight and then bending this to fit. So now the easement is in the Pico flex track, which is easy to shape perfectly, and the expansion gap is on the Microengineering flex track, which has the advantage of holding its shape. And that, I find, is a far more reliable method of getting a joint on a curve than any other method I've ever heard of. I just thought I'd share that with you before I get back to work and finish the job. Well, that is as far as I can go until I have got this corner in, and I'm waiting for the full-size print to do that. That is a total distance of approximately 80 feet, all the way from the distant corner. And it's not even lunchtime yet. But I am going to go in. I don't want to vibrate the benchwork and risk moving anything. So I'm going to go in, get some lunch, and I'm going to come back out later. So don't go away, I will be right back. Well, the fence is now installed all the way along. I've only done one side of this top section because it'll be a lot easier to plot the track, especially the curve and the transition that starts at this end. But apart from that, it's done both sides, all the way down. And it's quite a long walk. All the way down to here. As I said, a distance of approximately 80 feet. I'm not going to go any further on this ramp just yet. I want to get the visible track, or at least the roadbed for the visible track, in before I finish this, because I don't want to risk this being too close behind the visible track, making it more difficult to access. It's not that it's going to be fouling or anything. The track above it is more than 4 inches higher, but there are switch machines and signal masts to deal with. So I want to make sure I've got plenty of clearance. Well, that's all for this week. If you're watching last week, you may recall that I made a comment about hoping that I can get at least one of the ramps right first time. Well, I guess that wasn't to be. Sometimes things just go like that. But anyway, it was an easy fix and I'm happy with the results now. So I'm going to sign off here. I hope to see you back next week. In the meantime, thanks for watching and bye for now.